So today, again, as I mentioned, we're going to be talking about Adobe Captivate templates, and Jeff Batt, who's the eLearning Brothers Product Development Manager and one of our frequent e-learning speakers, will be walking you through how to really expand and build upon interactions that you do in Adobe Captivate, and be able to get you up to the next level and really use some tools that will enhance your ability to shine as an instructional designer and put out some really cool stuff. So I'm not going to eat into any more of Jeff's time. I'm going to introduce Jeff and say take it away. And I do want to let you know, everyone, that this session is being recorded. So we're going to make this available for review. We'll provide a link at the on the eLearning 2.0 website, so if you need to or would like to review it again, you'll have that link to do so. And if you know anybody who was not able to attend today's webinar and would like to be able to see what you have seen today, then you can send them to that link as well. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Jeff Batt at eLearning Brothers. And Jeff, go ahead and take it away.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody. As Kurt mentioned, my name is Jeff Batt. Been with eLearning Brothers for a little while. And I am the product development manager, which means that I'm in charge of all developments when it comes to eLearning Brothers, our template library, anything that we create. I handle that and the production of that and everything. So I'm excited. We recently, just a couple weeks ago, came out with new Captivate interactions. So I'm excited to talk to you about some of those, how you can actually take some of these interactions, how you can use them inside of your courses to enhance your courses. How you can even use some of our HTML5 games or Edge Animate games, and how you can take those and use those inside of your courses as well. So, and I'm going to talk to you about how they were built, because even if you are not an eLearning subscriber or a template library subscriber, or don't plan on being a template library subscriber, hopefully you can still take some of these and learn some things on how some of these interactions were built inside of Captivate, so you can improve your own Captivate interactions, or just take what we've already started with the template library and build onto it from there. So I'm going to explain how they were built, how you can start putting them inside of your courses, how you can start enhancing them as well. And then I want to get into the games after that, how you can start building your games, your interactions, and taking your courses to the next level with some really awesome looking e-learning games. So now, I won't be looking at the questions and answers, the questions the whole time, but I do have some people on the line with me that will be trying to answer your questions. So if you have any questions, feel free to type those in the questions section. And either myself, if I pause and take a look at the questions, I will answer those, or somebody on the line will answer those as we go through here. All right. Now, give me 1 second here. Okay. So if you first of all go to elearningtemplates.com, this is where you can see a lot of the templates that eLearning Brothers has inside of our template library. Now, specifically, we're talking about Adobe Captivate. So if you hover over templates by software and then go down to Adobe Captivate, which is the first option right here, this will give you a list of all the different templates available in the template library that work directly inside of Captivate. Now, these are templates that are interactive or interactions templates where you can create conversational scenarios. You can create little click to reveal type of interactions, scenario templates, Captivate player skin widgets if you want to have a different type of widget than what's normally available inside of Captivate. These are like next and back buttons and play buttons. Cut out people, images, Adobe Captivate layout templates. And so if you're not sure how to lay out your content, these will help speed up the process of laying out your content in a lot of different ways. If you download one of these, there's in some of them over 100 different types of layouts, game templates, stock images, and graphics and sound effects. Today in this webinar, I'm going to focus more on the interaction templates, the ability to create these types of interactions that are natively built inside of Captivate. Up until this point, we had interactions that you could still use inside of Captivate, but those interactions were mainly Flash or HTML5. These interactions are natively built directly inside of Captivate, so you can modify them and you can tweak them directly right inside of Captivate. Now, as part of this this webinar, we did take one of our new interactions and we did make it free. So if you go to elearningtemplates.com and you sign up there for a free account, you can actually download one of those interactions, and I'll show you how to edit that and everything from here. So now once you've signed up for an account, whether it be a free account or a paid account, this is what you'll see inside of the template library. So you'll notice over on the, well, as soon as I come to it, which is library.elearningtemplates.com, if I hover over here, you'll see activities, cutout people, scenarios, player skins, layouts, stock images, sounds, and freebies. If I click on the freebie section, you'll notice this Captivate interaction, which is in the freebie area. If you sign up for a free account, you can download one of these Captivate interactions and start using it, along with some other Captivate layouts and Captivate themes as well that you can download. But I'm going to talk about specifically the Captivate interaction. So if I click on this Captivate interaction, you'll notice that there's 62 so far Captivate interactions. Now, we are on a weekly basis right now, adding new interactions inside of here. So you automatically get those. And anything that we basically upload here, we give you what we built inside of Captivate, so you can go in and just tweak it yourself here. Now, as you come along these different Captivate scenario or interactions, there's a couple different pages here. If I go to the second page, you can see if you come across one that you like. I'm going to go ahead and click on that. Let me log in here. I haven't logged in. I'm going to click on that, and I can see how this interaction is going to work directly inside of my window here. Well, if I download this interaction, let's say I like this and I want to use it inside of my training. I want to be able to take this interaction, download it, and insert it inside of my Captivate course. Well, I'm going to click on this download button, and this will download to my downloads folder or to my desktop, wherever I have it saved, this Captivate CPTX file. Now, this file is the same file that our developers use to actually build this Captivate interaction. So we give you the source files. So you have full control over that. I know there's a lot of people that I come across that say, oh, we don't use templates because they're very stuck in this certain, if we want it, we have a very specific look and we don't want to, shy away from or, take away from the look that we have. Well, that's really not the case. They're kind of missing something there, because the way that templates are designed is for you to take it and pretty much make it look however you want it to look, to design it to change the buttons, to change the shapes. It's just a platform for you to be able to start from, and it will save you a whole lot of time starting from a template. And there's been a lot of research done about this, but it'll save you a whole lot of time starting from a template than doing this from scratch. Because really, when you open up this template, all you have to do is come in here, modify the labels, modify the text, the page text, go in and add your own content. So it's really flexible. It's more flexible than people may realize. But you'll notice in this tab interaction, the way that it's set up is on the master slide is what we have the background. You'll notice that I have tabs over on the left-hand side, and then I have my page content over on the right-hand side. And this is just a simple interaction. We have more complex interactions as well. But in this simple interaction, if I wanted to change the background, all I have to do is come into the master slide, and then within the master slide, I come into the main master slide here, and then I can click back on the timeline, actually come back into the master slide. All of my content right now is within my properties. So you'll notice in my properties, I have a background image, which are these stripes. Now, if I wanted to change these stripes to something else, I can do that easily as well. Now, you can just use your own stock image, or if you are a template library subscriber, you can click on the stock images, come down to background textures, and you notice we have squares, we have different rays, different patterns, and everything like that. But let's say I want to grab these squares here. I'm going to click on the squares, and I can download it in different sizes. So we have 720 by 540, 800 by 600, 948 by 540, or we provide you with the source files that you can just change to whatever size you want. But in this case, it's the default size is 720 by 540. So I'm going to go ahead and click on download, and that's going to download this folder to my desktop that has a couple different versions of these squares. So we have a full dark, one with transparency, one with white, and full white as well. So a lot of different options here. Now I can come back into Captivate, click on this little browse folder in my master slide. Again, I'm in my master slide at this point. I'm going to click on this browse folder, and then I'm going to click on import. This will allow me to search for those images on my desktop. So I'm going to go ahead and let's go ahead and choose this checkers with alpha here and click open. Now what that will do is it'll automatically change my checkers. So if I go back into my interaction, now I have a checkered background rather than a regular gray background or a regular striped background. Now coming back into my master slide, I can also change the background color. If I go into the properties, coming over to stage here, I can change this color to whatever color I want. Let's say I want this blue color. So now I have this nice blue background. With a simple click, I can go in and change, get more specific with my colors, but I'm not going to bore you with that part. That's how you go in and change the colors to your interaction. So if I come back in here, I may not have wanted to change to blue because now my buttons, if I changed my buttons to a different color, let's go ahead and do that. But now my buttons don't stand out as much with the blue background. So I'm going to click on any of these buttons, which are basically smart shapes. If you've worked with Captivate at all, we are using smart shapes in order to control and to have sharper edges inside of here as buttons instead of normal buttons inside of Captivate. And you can do that with any smart shape. If you come into Captivate, click on the smart shape. Once you have that smart shape selected, you can click on this Use as Button. As soon as you click on this Use as Button, you can basically trigger with that shape when somebody clicks on it. You can trigger anything to happen, and that's what we're doing. Is we created this smart shape. Within the smart shape, we added a certain color gradients here, which we just have 4 stops, and that's how we get that little reflective shine here. I'm going to change this. I already created a different type of custom gradient. I changed it to red here, and I saved my gradient. So if you come in here and you change all these colors and you want to save this gradient and you want to reuse this gradient for different buttons, well, you can, after you've changed the color on one object, you can just come down to this little button down at the bottom here in this pop-up that says Add Custom Gradients. And what that will do is it'll add to your custom gradient section whatever colors you changed. That way you don't have to go into each of these buttons, go into Fill, and change all 4 of these different colors to match the color every single time. You can just come into the custom gradients, click on custom gradient there, and that's pretty much it. So I can go through all my buttons, changing my custom gradient. So now I got a new look. And that's the nice thing about this being built inside of Captivate is everything you know inside of Captivate is pretty much usable inside of here. So you can change it to however you want it to look. You can change the position. I'm not stuck on the position. So if I want to, let's say, change my tabs to only be 7 here, let's go ahead and just move one off the stage. And now I can just move my other tab down at the bottom and just kind of align, holding down the Shift button. I can go to Align and Distribute vertically. And now I will have 6 that kind of align there. And I don't have to delete this. I can just keep it off the stage. But now if the learner clicks on these 6 different tabs, it'll show that interaction. So that's how I visually set things up inside of this interaction. Within a couple of minutes, to build this from scratch would take me a lot longer. But within a couple of minutes, I have a completely different look. I have a different color tabs. I have different background with a different pattern. And it's been able to enhance my interaction that I can use inside of any course. Well, once I want to use this inside of course, it's a matter of just coming over to the page within the film strip and copying it, whether you right click and go down to copy, or whether you just hit Control C or Command C, and then you go into your course and just hit Control V, and that will paste your content right inside of your course. It's that simple. And so it's quick and easy just to be able to copy that, paste it into your course, and then start editing the content within your course as well. Now to edit the content inside of here, because let's preview this and let's see how this interaction works. You'll notice on here we have our buttons on the left-hand side, but we have our content on the right-hand side. And right now the default content is set at introduction, and I have some introduction text. But when I click on the tabs on the left-hand side, it actually changes that content to something completely different. And it actually makes my tab button a little bit transparent, just to let me know that I've visited that content. Now I can always come back to that if I need to, just by clicking on it, and it will just show me the content relevant to the tab that I've selected. Well, I'm going to go ahead and end that, and let's talk about how this is set up. And this is set up using our timeline down at the bottom here. So you'll notice, let me stretch out our timeline a little bit more, or the labels of our timeline. So you'll notice at the top of our timeline, we have tab 1, tab 2, tab 3, 4, all the way up to 7. But then right below that, we have intro content, tab 1 content, tab 2 content, tab 3 content. So if I hide this group here, and if I select the drop-down box, you'll notice I have intro header and introduction text. Well, if I hide that introduction content, you'll notice that the text actually goes away. Well, if I show tab 1 content, that's when the tab 1 content will actually show. And so when I'm wanting to edit this text, all I have to do for the buttons is actually double click on the buttons, select the text that I want, and let's just say this is option 1. And I can type in whatever text I want, have it as long as I want, and it'll just start wrapping. And that's just how normally a smart shape works inside of Captivate. And I would go here and do that for all of my buttons. So here's option 2, option 3, option 4, whatever I wanted to do there. Well, now if I want to change the introduction text, I just do the same thing. I just double click till I get to the introduction title and say, welcome to this interaction. Now I come down to the actual text part of it, the page text, and then I just start typing in whatever I want there. So now what happens is this, because I edited it inside of my intro content, this is only going to show during the introduction. If I want to change the text to the tab 1 content section, all I have to do is hide the intro content and go ahead and show the content for content 1. So let's just add on a little label for content 1. So I'm going to say content 1 sample content. And then I can change the text within there as well. So if I play this from here now, let's go ahead and see what the simple changes that we've done. Let's see what this interaction looks like now. So we have our introduction content. So there's our introduction. Welcome to this interaction. And now if I click on the text that I changed for content 1 is not showing yet. What I have to do is click on option 1, and now you can see that the content that I've that I've edited for content 1 now shows. Well, let's say I want to insert an image or an additional shape to only show in content 1. Well, there's a couple different steps to do that. If I come into this option, I still have tab 1 content selected. All I have to do is create my shape. So I'm going to come over and insert a smart shape, which is over on the left-hand side inside of Captivate. I go ahead and select a shape and just draw out that shape. Now I can do all my modifications like you normally do inside of Captivate over inside of the properties area. So I can select that drop-down box, select the colors of it, go ahead and remove the stroke if I want to just not have any stroke inside of there. So I'm going to change it to a width of 0. But what happens is this isn't going to show and hide at the same time as content 1 until I do 2 different things. Now the first thing is to actually, in the properties, to uncheck where it says visible in output. Right now, with that selected, this is going to show when the content is actually previewed. So I'm going to go ahead and uncheck where it says visible in output. That means this will only show once I tell it to show. And so now with this content selected, the shape selected, I'm going to move it down to close to my tab 1 content. And I'm going to go ahead, actually not, I grabbed the wrong one. Let me move my button back. I'm going to go ahead and move this shape here. Now with that shape selected, I'm going to hold down the shift button and I'm going to select my content, my tab 1 content. So I have both selected, and all I have to do to group it is to hit Control G or Command G. And what this will do is it'll group that shape inside of my content. So if I select the drop-down box of this tab 1 content, now I have my shape, my header, and my text. So now that it's grouped, what's happening in this interaction is it's going to hide and show whatever's in that group based on the button that's selected. So I'm going to select option 1 here, and you'll notice there's my shape. It was quick, easy, basically just had to create the shape and group it within there. But it was a little bit different. I have to have both options selected in order to group it, and then I can group it inside of there. But now, again, it only shows when content 1 is visible. Okay, so that's how you group objects. And so if I had an image, let's try it with an image here real quick. So I'm going to go to cutout people, and we have a lot of cutout people. I'm going to go to casual, And so let's just grab one of our new casual guys here, and I'm going to select him and then click on download. And we have different sizes with our cutout people. So I click on this, there it is, it's downloaded. And now let's show content too. So I'm going to come into content too, and I'm going to click on the inserts. So I'm going to insert an image over on the left-hand side, click on insert image, go to my desktop, grab the guy, click open, and now I can, let me hide my timeline a little bit. Now I can resize this guy here. There we go. So I have him to fit perfectly inside of that content. Now I can come up here, and now I can move that guy down to my content too. And like I did before, I'm going to hold down the shift button and select tab content 2, and then hit Command G on a Mac or Control G on a PC. And now if I go ahead and hit preview my project. Oh, I forgot one thing. One step that I forgot is select that and make sure that he's unchecked for visible in output, or else it'll automatically select or automatically preview as soon as the course is shown. So we don't want that to show until we actually go into option 2. Once we go into option 2, there we go. There's my guy looking great there. And if I go to tab content 1, there's my triangle there. Okay. So for those of you who are just new to Captivate, maybe you're not sure how to hide and show these types of these groups basically. So I want to go over a little bit of how that was done. So I'm going to come into intro content, and I'm going to go up to the project level and click on advanced actions. What we're doing is we're actually running advanced actions on the button. So actually, let me close that out, select my button, and you'll notice in my properties under the action section, what we have is on success, which means with this button selected, once it's been clicked, we're going to execute from the drop-down box. I selected execute advanced actions, and then I select the advanced action that I've already created. So you have to create the advanced interactions before you can select it. Now I have different advanced actions. I have one to, and I labeled it make tab 1 visible, make tab 2 visible, make tab 3 visible, and all the way up to tab 7. So basically, I'm just making certain things visible depending on the button that's selected. And if you are advanced with Captivate and you've used Captivate a lot, this may be second nature to you already. But just for those of you who are just getting started with Captivate, that this may be something as a review here. But in the advanced actions section, so I went back into project, clicked on advanced actions. I can select existing actions, and if you're working with the template and you want to modify what happens with this advanced actions, you just select the drop-down box and then come down to make tab 1 visible, and you'll see exactly what we're doing. And so we're showing tab 1 content, which is the group, and I can select the drop-down box here. If I double-click on it, it allows me to select certain items within the group, or if I scroll down here, I could select the actual group itself, so tab 1 content, and that's what I have labeled here. So we're showing tab 1 content, and then we're hiding just in case, wherever we may be at inside of the clicking mode, we're hiding and showing different things at certain times. And so hiding every other type of content that could be applicable, but we're also adding that transparency to the button to let the learner know that they've actually visited that content. And so that's why we're adding one more trigger, which is an apply effect. And we thought about very carefully of what type of effect we could apply there that would be both mobile and HTML compatible, or mobile and Flash compatible. And so not all effects are inside of Captivate are mobile compatible, so that's why we selected alpha. And so we're setting the alpha, and then if you click on these 3 dots, you can see that we are setting the alpha to 60%. And so that's what's making it transparent. If you want to adjust that, you can. You can go in here and say, let's just do 80%. I don't exactly want 60%, let's just do 80. Or I can delete that. If I select the remove button up on top, that will delete the alpha action, and it will not make it transparent. So that's just, if you wanted to make some modifications to it, if you wanted to come down here and add another advanced action, if you wanted to show, hide other stuff, if you wanted to restrict or do different things like that, basically you could do whatever you want inside of there. And then I would come down and click update action, and this would update the action. So when this action gets run, it would do whatever you've added onto it with option 1. Now I would have to come in here under advanced actions and do the same thing with make tab 2 visible, make tab 3 visible, tab 4 visible, and so on. So that's how you would go into the advanced actions. Now, with some of our other interactions, it's a little bit more complex than just hiding and showing. But with these ones, that's pretty much it. You can go in and you can add on to it. And that just saved me, to do this was, 3 hours, 3 or 4 hours. That just saved me 3 or 4 hours, and I was able to create some content quickly and modify it to fit my look still. And I can even come in here and change out my buttons. Let's say I wanted a different type of shape. I wanted this shape. Well, I can just add that shape here and click on over on the right hand side in properties, click use this button, and then on success, let's go ahead and execute advanced actions. And let's say we just execute the same advanced action of make tab 1 visible. And so that way I can just delete this option 1, and the advanced action will still happen once I click on this little thought bubble. And that was quick for me to just go ahead and swap that out. And so these are, and that's the point that I'm trying to drive here is templates don't restrict you. Templates just give you a starting platform or give you some ideas. And then the world is your oyster from there. You can go in and modify it however you want, but you got that starting point and saved you a couple of hours already to begin with. Okay, so that is one of our simple interactions. Let's go ahead. I'm going to show you a little bit more of our advanced actions, but I just want to breeze through the questions, make sure I haven't missed anything. One question is, can you apply to all buttons? I'm assuming apply the red to all the buttons with just one button click. I'm not aware of how to do that. You may be able to. Let me try selecting all of that. Yeah, so you just hold down the shift button, come over to the fill button, and then click on apply, and you'll notice it applied all of them all at once. And so that's quicker than just doing it one by one. So you just hold down the shift button, select all of them, and then go to your fill and apply it to your content from there. Okay, so like I mentioned before, once you're done with this interaction, just copy, paste it into your course, and then it just becomes part of your page. Now, if you already have a master slide, you already have kind of a theme to your course, well, you can unapply the master slide of that interaction, and it will just automatically adapt to whatever course that you have here. So, and as an example, here's one of our tab interaction. Let me view this or come out a little bit on this. So you notice in this case we have kind of this mission possible theme in this course, and we already have some layouts. But we took our tab interaction and we modified it to kind of fit the theme. So the background has the same theme as the rest of the content, and we have one of our skin widgets applied here. And so it was a simple just adding the interaction in, changing the colors, and there we go. And maybe we stretched out the content side itself a little bit, because the default interaction size is 720 by 540, but you can change that to any size that you want, so keep that in mind. Okay, so that's how you go in and you start doing one of the interactions there. Now, there's a lot more interactions to choose from. If I come in and let me just talk about one more interaction, which is the interaction that we're giving away for free. If you sign up at elearningtemplates.com, you can download this interaction for free, try it out, open it up inside of Captivate, play around with it, see what you think, and then go from there. But if I click on activities, come down to Captivate interactions, and if I scroll down, I'm going to select this media viewer, or actually you could get to it now from the freebie section. If you select this media viewer here and click download, what this is designed to do is basically have be a pop-up. So when you click on it, it'll pop up with more content, and right now it's just placed with an image, but I imagine like a video playing there or something like that, so they could see the video. I mean, you could take away the text, but they could play the video, and then once they've watched the video, they can click close. And you can copy and paste this and show different types of content here as well. So it's a simple media viewer type of interaction here. This is what we're giving away for free. And we're also going to have a drawing for a free subscription at the end, but we'll do that later. But let me go over how this content was built. So once I have this inside of Captivate, you'll notice if I select on these different squares, they're just basically groups. Within the groups, we have images, and we have We have short titles. We have short descriptions as well. But it's because this is kind of to lead into the interaction. It's not to describe everything about the media part that's going to pop up, but it's just a little bit of a preview. I think of this kind of like when you're scrolling through YouTube or something, you see the initial image and then a short description. You click on it, and that's when the video pops up. So here we have our tab 1 content. Let me scroll up a little bit. Tab 1 content, and then we have our tabs. So we have tab 1, tab 2, tab 3. Within each of these tabs, they're a little bit more complex than just the smart shape. We have an image, a title, text, and then we have the background, which is a smart shape, but it's just the background part with the drop shadow added onto it. Now, what we did is inside of this tab interaction, we're actually on this smart shape, which the smart shape is the one that's behind everything. So we have our image, we have our text, we have our title and everything. On that, we have, just on the smart shape, we added, we made it so it's used as button. And then we have a script that will basically run that make one visible, kind of exactly like the tab interaction that we had. But because this smart shape is behind the image, it's behind the text, and it's behind the description, I can click on anywhere here, and it's still going to trigger that making the content visible. And so I don't have to worry about that content, or I don't have to worry about clicking on the image and it not triggering when I need it to trigger. So you'll notice that in this interaction, it's a little bit different because we have our tabs under the actual content. Well, the reason why is because the content needs to pop up over the rest of the interaction. So if I click on unhide the content, you'll notice we have a content back, which is just this fader, kind of darkens everything behind it, that will show, and then we have the actual content. So then I can come in here and do what I did before. I can bring in other images, I can bring in videos, I can change out the text, I can modify it, rearrange it. Let's say if I want to move this text somewhere, I can rearrange that as well, and then just unhide tab content too once I'm done. Unhide or hide content back once I'm done with that as well, and then go back and modify it how I want. I would still change the background on the master slide and do everything there. But the advanced actions are a little bit different than what the tab interaction was, because we had to take into account, because this is a pop-up, we had to take into account that you can still click on other stuff behind it, even with that pop-up going. So it would add like 4 pop-ups automatically. So what we did is in the advanced actions, under make one visible, is we have show content 1 and show content 2. And then we have another closed contents, which will actually hide, that when you click on the close button, it'll hide everything. Now, I'm not sure on this interaction if it has I'm not sure exactly where the other type of stuff is, where it would deselect, or I can even click it on here. If I go to select the drop-down box, click on disable, and then I would disable the tab 1 back, and that way I can't click on that tab 1 back when the pop-up is visible. So you can disable it, and when you click on the close button, you can enable it, and that would work perfectly there. So that's quickly how you would do that inside of the interaction. And there's a lot more interactions. If I click on activities, come down to Captivate interactions, there's a lot more to choose from. There's 62 over 62 and counting as far as the interactions go. Well, let's say you want to add a game, and this game you want to have it be a little bit more interactive than the normal content is, or these interactions are. Well, Captivate doesn't lend itself right now well enough to build an entire game right inside of Captivate, although we are exploring it on the best way of building actual native games inside of there. So until then, you have activities, and you can come down to HTML5 games, and this will allow you to download the game and edit it right inside of a normal HTML editor. I personally like Adobe Edge Animate. Adobe Edge Animate, the reason why is because you have a little bit more visual control rather than going into the CSS and changing the CSS, or having to be a full coder of HTML or something like that. With Adobe Edge Animate, you can download any of these types of games. And so if I click on this game, you'll notice this is one of our board games, and it's really highly interactive. I roll the dice, I then choose my card here, It presents me with a question, get it right here. Now I can roll the dice and I get the points up on the top. And it's just really highly interactive that I can use, and it was all built inside of Edge Animate. Well, I can download the project files, click on download, and this will download the entire project inside of Edge Animate. Now, Edge Animate you can get through the Creative Cloud subscription, or you can subscribe just to Edge Animate if you wanted to through adobe.com, but it's highly worth it in my opinion. And so if I double click on here inside of this index project file, when I download it, you'll notice it by the .an file, whatever ends with .an. Let me pause this for a sec. Looks like I need to sign into my Creative Cloud here, but so you'll have that whatever ends with .an basically is how you open up the project. And now once the project is opened up, let me go ahead and start sharing my screen here again. Once the object is opened up, now you'll notice along the timeline that there's different labels. We have instructions, game board, question 1, question 2, question 3, all the way up to possible types of questions is 20. Now, if I move my timeline just by clicking here, you'll notice that I can jump to the different spots. I can jump to question 2, I can jump to question 1, and then I can double click into this area and I can start editing the actual question. So if I come into my instructions, I can double click where I see the instructions. Let me go ahead and you have to unlock these layers first of all, or come into, on the right hand side is your elements panel, or your library panel, and you can just come into question 1 if I double click on question 1, and inside of my symbols area, and I can just double click on my question text. Let's say, what color is the sky? Well, that's all I have to do to edit question 1. And if I come into question 1 choices and double click on that in the library, now I can come into my different choices. And along my timeline, I'll see choices, correct and incorrect. Well, I can come into my different choices and change out my text here. Blue. And all I have to do is double click until I can get the text, and now I can edit the text there. And now if I come back to question 1 choices, and we do have more in-depth tutorials on this. I'm going a little quick on this. But if I click on this on the left-hand side under properties, click on open actions. Now I can choose which one of those choices is correct. So you'll notice here we have answer A correct, answer B correct. And all I have to do is choose or type in true for the correct answer, false for the incorrect answer. And you can have more than one answer as well. So these offer you a little bit more flexibility. You have a timeline that you can start animating stuff to as well, which you can do in Captivate. But it's just, it's a lot more flexible, and actually the animations work a lot better in my opinion inside of this current version of Edge Animate compared to Captivate. So now all I have to do once I'm done with this is click on File and then Publish, and this will publish out my entire game. Now let me hide Edge Animate for you, because the current way of bringing inside of any HTML5 content inside of Captivate is not the easiest way. And I hope in the next version of Captivate they improve this a little bit, but I wanted to just go over this content, or how you would actually do this and bring this game inside of inside of Captivate. So in order to bring something like HTML, whether it's be Edge Animate or your own HTML inside of Captivate, you first of all have to publish your course from Captivate, which means that you have to leave some room in your Captivate interaction here for the game to be, or where you want the game to be. So if you wanted to create a page, and right now I have this page with, this one will be quicker if I just create one from this project rather than from a project that has multiple pages. So let me just create a new slide. And I'm going to click on new slide here, and I'm just going to leave this page blank because I know that's where the HTML game is going to happen. Well, I'm then going to come in here and click on File and then and Publish, and I'm going to publish this to HTML. And so on my desktop, I'm just going to select, I'm going to uncheck where it says Swift, and I'm just going to publish to HTML. And once I hit Publish, it'll publish out my content. So that went pretty quickly here. Let me just hide that, and now I'm going to pull up my tabs interaction. And you'll notice now, right now, I have this Captivate interaction with the first page being my tabs interaction, and then the second page just being blank. Well, I'm going to take this HTML5 content that I built inside of Edge Animate, and I'm going to insert it inside of this page. Now, again, this is not the best way in my opinion. Again, I hope that they improve this inside of the next version of Captivate. But in order to include HTML inside of your like external game HTML inside of Captivate, you have to use the app packager, which is provided in CS 5.5 later versions, CS 6, and Captivate 7. So if you have Captivate 7, CS6, or 5.5, the later version of 5.5, then you'll be able to do exactly what I'm doing here. So within this tabs interaction, or once the app packager comes up, the first thing I need to do is find this tabs interaction. And if I click on the browse button, come to my desktop, and then go into the tabs interaction, all I need to do is go into the folder and click open. It's going to then take my Captivate interaction or my Captivate course, and I can go into page 2, and I can insert the animation built from Edge. And so I can click on this HTML5 content. Let's go ahead and click on that. And now I just go find the published files of my Adobe Edge Animate course, which is within the project, publish, web, and again, I have a video of this. This is being recorded if you wanted to review it later. And then I click open here. Now you'll see a little bit of a preview here. Up on the top, there's my board game. All I have to do is click on insert and then kind of resize the window here so I can see my entire game right within that window. So I've now inserted my HTML5 content, whether it be from Edge, whether it be just from our normal games or anything like that. And now all I have to do is come down to the bottom here, click on this Captivate icon to publish it out. Or the nice thing about this is I can publish it out straight to an iPhone app. So if I select the iPhone app or Android app, this will publish it out. So it'll work with PhoneGap, and you can publish this as an actual installable application. But for now, I'm just going to publish it out as a Captivate project, hit publish. And then now if I click view, when I come to page 2, there it is, my loading game. And here's my game working inside of my HTML5 output that's going to work perfectly on an iPad, Android, or anything like that. So, okay, so that, it's a little bit of a workaround, but you can still get your HTML5 content, whether built in Edge or whether built inside of just regular HTML or any other tool output like that. That's how you would get it inside of your Captivate course and insert it inside of your content. So, but you didn't have to build that Edge Animate game from scratch. Now, if you're not going to work with Edge Animate, you can still get the same types of games using under the eBooks interactions. If I scroll down to eBooks interactions, even though it says eBooks interactions, it's still HTML5 output. So you can still go in and you can edit it in a simple text file and then still bring it inside of the app packager like I just explained already. So. All right, so that's all the content that I have right now. Let me just make sure that all the questions. Looks like the guys have been taking care of all of your questions so far. So if you have any final questions, go ahead and type them in. One question that just popped up is, have used PhoneGap and created a mobile app. Have not done it since iOS update. Are there any issues with the current version of iOS? I'm sure there's been new updates to PhoneGap, so as long as you're running the current version of PhoneGap, there shouldn't be. Sometimes when the initial iOS comes out, there's a little bit of issues, but if you give it time for PhoneGap to come out with their new version, usually they do a good job with that. How can you view the video of this webinar after the fact? We will be posting the video on the LinkedIn group, Kurt's LinkedIn group, so he'll post that once it's ready. Is there a free HTML5 game to try it out? Yes, there is. Under the freebie section, if you go under Edge, there is an Edge Animate Explorer game that you can download for free. I think there is also just a regular HTML5. Yep, down at the bottom, it's just regular HTML5 World Race game. How to download the free template is going to elearningtemplates.com. If you click on members, or actually no, freebies here, you can get started, click on get started, and you can actually scroll down to the bottom, it says free membership, sign up today, and you can sign up for a free membership. We are going to be giving away a free subscription here. I'll turn the time over to Dan here in a second. And we are going to give someone that's currently on the webinar, so if you want to stick around for that, we are going to give someone a year subscription for free. The webinar recording will be on LinkedIn, and it will automatically send you out emails if you have your LinkedIn sending you emails. Okay, so that's all the questions that I have. So let me make sure that I can get Dan here. We have Dan from eLearning Brothers. Dan, are you on the line?
Hi, everyone.
So Dan's going to go ahead and take over, and he's going to give out a free subscription to somebody that's currently on the line here. So go ahead, Dan.
All right. So if you're on the line, we've randomly selected some names. Well, somewhat randomly. We wanted to look for people who are actively participating. But if your name does come up, be sure to let us know that you hear us. Send us a text in the window, and we'll give you a few seconds. And then if we don't see you reaching out, then we'll move on to the next name. But let's go ahead and start off with the first name from the hat. We've got, I'm going to butcher the last name here, but it's Catherine Stathopoulos. Catherine, are you there? Hey, we've got a winner on the first try. So Catherine, this is fantastic. I'm going to contact you later, and we'll set you up with a free account. I'll walk you through it and show you how it works. Hope you love it. For those of you who did not win, we are offering a discount, as you see on your screen, to everyone out there. Look for, if you do decide to check out one of our products, if you enter Captivate 14 in the checkout window, you're also getting a good deal on one of our products today. So Catherine, again, congratulations. I'm going to turn it back over to Jeff and to Kurt to finish up today.
All right, let me unmute Kurt. I don't have anything else, but if Kurt has anything to finish off, then I think we're good. Kurt, I think
Okay,
you're unmuted
well, that
now.
was an awesome presentation. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're good.
Hello?
Yes.
Hello? Hello?
Yeah.
I'm on? Okay, great. Okay. Yeah, just an awesome presentation, Jeff. Thank you so much for presenting to the group. You know, I love your stuff. Like I said before in the beginning, the game show template that you have is one that I use to actually land a job at Verizon. So these things work. They expand the power of our stuff, of our modules that we're developing out there, and there's a lot of good templates that are part of some of the packages that you may have already bought, but these really expand the repertoire. So if you really want to have that Batman toolkit, these templates definitely do the job. So again, I want to thank everyone so much for staying active in the group, and we're going to be running these webinars on a regular basis so that there are different tools that are available and different platforms and ways of enhancing your business. And I want to thank everyone for your participation. So I'll see you on eLearning 2.0. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Dan. And have a great day, everyone. Take care.
All right, thank you. Bye.